Hello everyone, I am Flo and I am with Fair Thimbles and I am doing an introduction to sewing. And if you are new to sewing, you've never touched a sewing machine, and you recently just purchased a sewing machine, this would be a good video to watch. And the best part is, if you've purchased the Project Runway limited edition, you have exactly the same model as I do right now, then totally awesome, because then I could show you the parts. Well, first thing first, when you have your sewing machine, your sewing machine will come with a manual right here. So if you have your manual, I highly recommend that you stop, grab your manual and read it, And if you go on page 1, it would show you all the parts of your sewing machine right there. So names of machine parts and their functions. It's really helpful to read this one. But if you don't want to read this, you can also just watch this video, because I will do my best to guide you on it. So let's get familiar with your sewing machine. What do we have here? Like, again, this is a computerized sewing machine. What I have here is a drop-in bobbin right there. When we say drop-in bobbin, meaning we put our bobbin right here. It's a drop-in. It goes from the top, not from right here. We have the other kind of machine is what they call the front-loading machine. Why do I use the drop-in machine? Just because I like it. There's really no special reason, because it's what I've learned on, and well, actually I've learned on a front loading, but I prefer the drop-in, and that it was a lot easier teaching the little kids and even any adult beginners to sew using a drop-in bobbin. It's a beginner friendly, to say that. So with your sewing machine, we have this one part called the hand wheel. This is the hand wheel right here. We always want to move our hand wheel towards us, not against us, but towards us. And we have also the switch button. The switch button is in the bottom right there. It turns on and off, of course, your sewing machine. And this is the outlet cord. It has to be plugged in for it to be functional, right? And with your outlet cord, it's not the same as the other sewing machine where the outlet cord and the foot pedal is connected. For this one, actually, the foot pedal comes on a different cord, and you attach your foot pedal at the back. This is the outlet for the foot pedal. And if you're wondering what a foot pedal looks like, I will show it to you in a little bit. But for now, let's deal with all this good stuff right here. The ones that is in front of us. So let's turn on our sewing machine. You see that? It moved. Turn it off. It moves again. I know, I'm easily amused. So let's get to know. We know already our hand wheel. Oh, and this is what we call the tension adjuster. So it adjusts the tensions of the thread from the top right there. And this is what we call the spool pin. This spool pin right there, this is where we put our thread, our spool of thread, and this is what we call a spool pin cap. So for this machine, we need a spool pin cap. And there are other machines that you don't need the spool pin cap because it's a standing spool pin, But this one is this way, so you need your spool pin cap, or else your thread is gonna go flying out while you're sewing. And we have the take-up lever. Hard time with my own. So this is a take-up lever right there. If you see that little metal piece right there moving, right there, it's moving because I am moving my hand wheel. So again, you move your hand wheel towards you, not against you. It moves the take-up lever, and it also moves your needle up and down right there. Okay. So the other part, ow, my finger got caught. The other part that I want to show you is this one right here. Let me focus that a little bit right there. Okay, so this is what we call a feed dog right there. See this sharp metal teeth right there? That is what we call a feed dog. And if we're moving our hand wheel, again, I said the hand wheel will also kind of help move that feed dog. The feed dog, the job of the feed dog. What is the job of the feed dog? It moves your fabric, you know. So if your feed dog is not doing its job, meaning there's a bunch of threads stuck up in there, and then you have to stop. So you got to stop sewing, or else you're going to end up with a broken needle or a bent needle, and we don't want that. You don't want to have that one. So that was our feed dog right there. This is our feed dog. So if it weren't for a feed dog moving, then our fabric will stay in place. Then we would have a broken needle or a bent needle. And we don't want to have that again, like I said. And this is what we call the presser foot. And the presser foot, the job of the presser foot is very important as well. It holds our fabric together, you know, it holds our fabric in place. So when we're sewing, it goes down like this. Let me get a piece of fabric. So this is our fabric right there. So you have your feed dog like that. So it holds that while you're sewing. It keeps it in place. I can't even move it right now. So we lift that up. Then we have the presser foot lifter, the one that I was using right here. This is what we call a presser foot lifter. It goes up and down. So you will be using this a lot. And then we have our presser foot release. For this sewing machine, let me turn it off. For our sewing machine right here, the presser foot release is this one right here. This is the presser foot release. Some machines don't have a presser foot release. My machine does. It's right here. Now I'm going to show you how to put your presser foot back. How do we put our presser foot back? So what we will do is we will just make sure it's placed right exactly. Let's show you that. So if you're looking at your sewing machine, right there. We're gonna place our presser foot right there. So if you see this metal piece right there, my finger right there, that metal piece. See, you want to match it up. Takes a bite. You gotta put your presser foot lifter down. Oops, mine's not aligned very well. Whoa, I think it's too late for me. This should be easy right there. Right there, see? It required 2 hands. Usually it requires 1 hand only, but it's late. Okay, so we got our presser foot back, and that's how you change your presser foot also. And between our feed dog and our presser foot, we have what we call the what do you call this? The plate. This is the needle plate. Okay, so our needle plate comes with numbers right here. It tells you the seam allowance right there. It guides you. Right there. See, it tells you 5/8, 1/4, 1 inch. So those are your seam allowance guide. I guess the most important part is our needle right here. Needle comes in different sizes. There's a ballpoint, and there's even, but what we have here right now is what we call a universal needle. We use it for mostly everything since we have kids here all the time taking sewing lessons. So we use different we can't replace needles every time they use a different fabric. So we use the universal thread. Universal needle. and we have what we call here the needle clamp. needle clamp right here. So it usually comes, the sewing machine usually comes with a little tool to twist this, and when you do that, it releases the needle. It loosens up this portion right here and it releases the needle. It allows you to replace the needle if it's bent or broken, or when it's dull already. I mean, just because it didn't break or it's not bent, that you're not going to replace it. What I usually do here is I replace the needle every so often, especially if we've used it a lot on projects. So, okay, so what we have here is what we call the thread guide right here. This is the thread guide. It will literally guide you on how to thread your machine. Different machines, different way of threading it. For example, the Singer Curvy doesn't even have all this loop here. All it does is like from here and then just one guide. But for this one, the Project Runway, you have to go through that, and it tells you number 1, number 2, 3, and of course you want to make sure that your take up lever is up, so that's number 4, and then 5 right there. So that's what we call the thread guide. And this again is our bobbin winder right here. We only use our bobbin winder when we are making a bobbin. So if you're wondering, what is a bobbin? You keep saying bobbin. This is a bobbin right here. So this one is a threaded bobbin already, and this one goes underneath that one right there. Well, we open that. Okay, since I have this up here, I want to show you how to thread your bobbin. When threading your bobbin, I want you to look at your bobbin. If it has to look like a letter P. This is what I always tell the kids. Your bobbin needs to look like a letter P right there. Does it look like a letter P? And yes, it does. So that means it's correct. It can't look like a letter Q, because if it looks like a letter Q and you drop it in there, that means it's not going to thread right. So drop it in like a letter P. So let's do that. And drop it in. And this is very simple. See? Because the bobbin area even has a guide on how to thread it. If you look at it right there. So all you have to do is you're gonna follow it. You're following the guide. You're gonna go through that and then cut. And then of course you're gonna cover it, and that's it. You've threaded your bobbin. Okay, last part of this video is going to be your arm. This is the arm of the sewing machine. Some arm of the sewing machine goes out. It pulls like this. Mine slides. You see, it slides very easily. Some people put their notions inside that one right there. You can put your notions in here, but this allows you to sew like round items, you know, like this. It allows you to sew like awkward seams, like a sleeve and stuff like that. But if you don't need it, if you don't have you don't have to sew a sleeve or any round small skirt like for dolls, then you can just put it back right there. I like having it there. Then I think we've already talked about the thread. So for my sewing machine right here, just in case I didn't talk about it, my sewing machine right here has all the thread guides right there, all the beautiful stitches, and all I have to do is select it. So for example, I want to do a number 7. I will go just turn this up, number 7. Okay, so I have number 7. The good thing about this though, it tells me I need a letter G. I need to change my presser foot. So this is one thing I like about the sewing machine as well, because it tells me if I need to, it tells me if I need to replace my presser foot. Sometimes you usually don't pay attention to that, but For this one, I don't have to grab my manual. All I have to do is like, oh, I need letter G, so I'm gonna go grab my letter G presser foot and change it. I mean, that's one function of my machine that I love about it. So, and I think that's about it. I think I've talked to you. Oh yeah, well, for any beginner or for any person, you don't really need a lot of notions or a lot of tools, as long as you have a handy dandy scissor. So even like this kind of scissor is perfect for giving the kids. This is just your regular Fiskars scissor that you buy it for like back to school stuff. One thing though is like, you tell your child, or you know, as long as you've never used the scissor on a paper, it should be good. Keep it as a sewing scissor. But once it's used on a paper, then it's gone. It's bye-bye. So maybe have 2 different colors for your child, or even for yourself, you know. Have purple one is for fabric, and then maybe another color for cutting papers. That way they don't get it confused. Then you need a tape measurement right here. Tape measurement comes in handy, very handy. And this is going to be your new best friend, your seam ripper. Like, why? This is your best friend, trust me. This is going to be your new best friend. This is going to help you fix all the stitches. If you make a mistake, this will help you fix it. Making mistakes is not a bad thing as well. So, and this is, you're going to need pins right there. You're going to need pins and a pin cushion. My pin cushion is cute. So you need that. Then of course you need your thread. And you need a bobbin. And you need a piece of fabric to start sewing your project. So far I think I've covered mostly all the basic parts of their sewing machine. And I've also given you an idea of what the basic supplies that you would need. You don't need to go buy the most expensive scissors right now, or expensive tools. Just start and sew. We should be posting a few different videos on how to make different things slowly. And if you haven't purchased your sewing machine yet, you can go on our website and go to the blog, and it will direct you to the sewing machines that we use here in our studio. We use 3 kinds of sewing machines. All we love, we have the Brother Project Runway, which we have right now, and then we also do use the Simple Brother, which is more of like very budget friendly. And then we have the Singer Curvy if you have more money to spend on a nicer sewing machine. But they're all nice. They're all very beginner friendly. So make sure to come back and check out our new videos, and we will see you next time. Have a great day. Bye.